Good morning, everybody! Welcome back to chapter 22 of Boldores and Boomsticks. I'm Takeshy, I'm your host today, and I'm asleep almost. That's not new, right? Yeah, alright, you can't see me yet. That's fine. Here I am. Here's the chapter right next to me. Welcome back to the terrible reading sessions that I usually do. There are no pictures, just me. And the text right next to me. And hopefully you, here with me. Last times, if you weren't here, RWBY and her teammates went on separate ways. RWBY and Vice went to one part of the other region, while Blake and Yang went next to the ocean. And they both had some troubles. RWBY and Vice actually just defeated a geist who can turn into a golem. And Blake and Yang defeated a Feilong, which is kind of a dragon, a water dragon. And some Pokemon evolved. You could see that Zubat evolved twice in the same time into Midicrobat, and Torchic evolved into a Combuscan, which was quite a serious scene. It was a very nice scene. Torchic jumping into the Feilong's mouth. Not even thinking about the water around here. But yeah, today I have no idea what we are gonna do. I'm probably gonna just read, right? But what they are gonna do? Good question. Probably some more enemies? I don't know. They have to find a way home at one point. They have to find some ultra wormholes, right? And the title is Clark's Third Law. Do I know that? No? No, I literally don't know what it's referencing. Is that actually a law in physics or anything? Okay, let's see. Clark's third law is any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Okay, that tells me nothing. I had to check. So, oh my god, my voice is still not back fully. My voice is still gonna be just full of noisy bits. It's coming from my throat and stuck on my nose. It's not coming further. So I'm sorry if I won't pronounce words perfectly. So, can we start? Hopefully we can. I think it is time to start chapter 22. Clark's third law. Probably they are gonna get together and tell their stories of what happened. Let's just start. So then the concrete mister starts moving, right? And me and Vice were all, you gotta getting me. And the guy falls out, ready to keep going. RWBY waved her arms around around her head to emphasize her point, nearly offsetting her mark of control in the process. The launch in the Indigo Plateau, favored by the Elite Four, was fairly packed as hunters and traders alike put down for the recent surge of missions. It's Weiss and I, RWBY, Weiss muttered peevishly before taking a sip of her tea. Seriously? Yang said, ignoring the heiress's grammatical admonitions in favor of listening to the sister's story. All that? And it wasn't dead yet? Nope. So before anyone can do anything, it takes off, finds a new body, and it gets ready to start a fight all over again. So I'm a little confused. Weiss has hurt hand, Nox is still figuring out how eyes work, and Serge was running with a low ammo on his pistol. And there we were, face to face with a possessed porta potty. There was a long moment of silence as everyone in the room turned to stare at the grinning redhead. You are not even kidding, are you? Bruno asked. Nope, and the best part is, few seconds later the guys came drifting back out of the thing, looking like it wished it had a mouse to throw up with. It took a good few minutes before the group was able to stop laughing. Casey wiped a full tear from her eye. Okay, you gotta hear what happened in Azalea Town though. Gunnar snickered and nodded her agreement. It's not crazy as the haunted toilet story. You mean the pottygeist? Yang interrupted. With shitty puns. Just like mine. Yang interrupted. The general groaning, and that was the pun not intended. But it was still pretty funny, especially with what Gary did. Gary? Young Oak buffed his nails on his shirt, nonchalantly. Just doing what I can get. What I can, with what I got, he waddled. Blake rolled her eyes, good naturally. Okay, we will bite. What happened in Azalea Town? Casey grinned. Okay, so the local gym leader wanted some help with the big mob of Grim. Who was still down, right? Well, if we were already on missions, Sukaram brought me and Gary along. We got there, and Azalea Town's in an uproar. Bugsy, that's the gym leader, and you will never guess what kind of Pokemon he specializes in. Yeah, you will never guess. Let me take a wise guess, Weiss said with voice as dry as the desert. Bugs? Oh no, how did you know? Bugsy and the town elder, the place is too small and too traditional to have a mayor. Cartman missing. Did they go after the Grim by themselves? Bruno asked, concerned. Yeah, Casey said, trying not to laugh. They did, and they might have been some real trouble, except... She lost her butter for composure and burst out laughing again. Grant took up the thread of the story. The Grim were approaching from east of the town. What also east of Azalea Town is an old landmark called Rainmaker Val, and more often Slowpoke Val. Oh. If it's a Val, I might have a chance of figuring out what kind of Pokemon, what kind of Grim were there. Get out his Pokédex for a moment and turn it around for Team RWBY to see. The picture displayed a pink hippo salamander thing with glazed eyes and a dopey grin. Slowpoke ain't just slow, they are so slow that if you step on one's tail, it would take at least full 5 seconds to even feel the pain. I thought it was like full 5 days. Another 5 to start reacting. They can be pretty strong psychic and water types, but they take a lot of patience to train. And one of the move well known is Yawn, Ryan said, a move that makes the target sleepy. It takes longer to kick in when most sleep-inducing moves, but it never fails to put the victim out like a light. RWBY frowned, not seeing the joke. So they put Grim to sleep? Oh, there was a bit more to it than that. Gary chuckled. When we got there, the Grim had already reached the Val. They were kind we hadn't seen before. We hadn't seen before, so I got the chance to try the prototype Grimdex program goes two together with the scans from the upside box. Good thing too, or things may not have gone so well for us. It is the apathy, probably, because it's a well. He set up and resumed control of the story. So, number 4, these fell from the back of the book with a bunch of warnings about how rare and dangerous they are and how students should avoid them or plan carefully if they can. You ever seen Grimm called the apathy? I mean, is the apathy even in their studies? I think it's not. There was a general confusion among the huntresses. The wise tapped her chin as she considered the question. I think I remember seeing something about them when I read ahead, but they weren't due to be covered until the 3rd or 4th year. Blake produced her scroll and opened the textbook app. After moments of searching, she began to read aloud for the benefit of her friends. Apathies have the terrifying ability to use scream that weakens their prey by training their will. Repeated attacks will weaken the target to a point of collapsing while in combat, or even cause their death while unconscious. The one weakness these Grimm possess is also their greatest cruelty. Apathies are extremely slow moving, even when actively attacking. This gives ample time for their victims to fight off the debilitating effects or for help to arrive, but in the absence of assistance or sufficient willpower, it leaves the subject watching the slow approach of death. These that hadn't been at Azelia Town shuddered at the thought, but Casey's enthusiasm was undimmed. Right, and we could see Kurt and Bugsy's sighter collapsed in the middle of the field. So with them out of the picture, it came down to pack of a few dozen apathies versus a few dozen slowpokes, and Gary recorded. She again couldn't help her composure and fell back into the couch, giggling. A small grin on his face, Gary opened the laptop sitting on the table before him and turned it to face the rest of the group. There was a recording queued up on a video editing program, and the trainer clicked play with flourish. I don't know if we can open this. No, we cannot. It's Star Wars soundtrack. It's a Star Wars soundtrack, so we cannot do that. Let's just do this. Bombastic Koi and fast-paced music. That's not a fast-paced music, but sure. Blood from the speakers. On the screen of the apathy Grimm and Slowpokes looked at each other. The apathy took a slow, measured step forwards, on legs that tapered down to neither point, and then slumped to the ground, eyes dimming. Another Grimm shrieked. A visible pulse rippling the air, and it washed over the cluster of lunging Pokémon, and it was impossible to tell if it worked. Rapidly reached out with long skeletal arms, razor-tipped claws stretching out towards the Slowpoke. Then the Grimm stopped, sagged, and stared at the ground, arms still trailing in the grass. The Slowpoke slowly blinked, then opened its mouth in a yawn. And a few seconds later, another apathy collapsed into a sitting position. All the while, the music built into a crescendo of energetic chanting and thundering instruments. Behold! Kran said sullenly, though she was clearly holding back laughter as well. The most epic laziness battle the world has ever seen. And with that, no one was bothering to hold back their laughter any longer. This is what I've been thinking more. For that fight, right? A few minutes after the video ended, when the group had managed to put themselves together, Takeshy finally managed to finish the story. So it was pretty cut and dried after that. Cut and dried? Isn't it cut and dry? Welcome back, Rex. Oh, I don't think I have seen that picture of yours. And that's not even the funniest part of the story. Oh. Did Gary fall asleep as well? I think he did. Didn't he? So it was pretty good and dried after that. We kept our distance and sent in our Pokemon a few at a time and record them anytime they looked tired. Took a while, cause the things were way more trouble than they looked. But we eventually got them all. But Best part is afterward. You hear it. Ken and Casey were checking on Kurt and Bugsy, so I decided to make sure the Slowpokes were okay. So I had Alakazam ask if any of them were hurt in the battle. And 7 minutes later I checked, they finally answered. He put on a wide-eyed, dopey smile expression. What battle? They brought another round of laughter. Well now, I'm glad to see everyone in such high spirits. Lance boomed as he strode into the room. Considering how hectic the last few days had been, I'm sure we are all glad for a little downtime. I know how this goes, Gary snickered. He's about to ask for volunteers for something, right boss? Lance had the good grace to look into a little sheepish as he muttered, kind of? He shook it off and turned to the huntresses. It's not an emergency call, thankfully. Those seem to have died down for now. But if the four of you are willing, a contact of mine in the Oregon region has an unusual request. How would you feel about a consultation job? A consultation job, huh? You know, I really would have expected a city called Rustboro to be more Ruby posed as she searched for the proper word. We are in Rustboro City, huh? There you go. The official Rustboro City team. Industrial? Blake offered. That works. None of his other Pokemon were strolling along a surprisingly clean and well-attended thoroughfare in a surprisingly clean and well-attended city. Even the less wealthy neighborhoods had more ivy than graffiti, more dressed stone walls than bare concrete, and tasteful scattering of wrought iron fixtures. How long do we have before our meeting? Yang asked. Hours? RWBY said. I think they forgot Will could just teleport us all here. When they arranged the time. Or they might have another meetings to get through first. CEOs tend to be busy people. Even though they are the ones requesting the meeting, I suggested, with an air of authority. That was an interesting oddity, compared to the previous missions. Rather than gym leader or town official, Team RWBY was waiting to meet with the president of some corporation headquartered in the city. Exactly what he wanted from them was unclear for the time being, though RWBY was secretly maintaining the hope that it involved action figures in their likenesses. So we have some time to kill then, Yang concluded. Hey Rice, think this place has better shopping than Pallet Town? The others packed up at the thought, even as RWBY groaned and Blake sighed. Blake thought herself enjoying some glorious solitude for a blissful hour or so, having managed to make her excuses and slip away after the thirst shop. RWBY bowed as she had been dragged off to the next by her sister, and her partner had been equal parts adorable and hilarious. And so Blake was able to take some time away from her team to relax with a good book, with only Shade reading over her shoulder for company. They had found a comfortable bench facing a decorative fountain outside the open-air shopping gallery, and the warm sun and a gentle breeze made things perfect. And it was even a good book. She had have to thank Tracy for the recommendation. Blake was getting close to the end, though, so hopefully she wouldn't need to wait too long for her teammates. The photos were startled from her book fugue, as someone settled heavily on the far end of the bench. Annoyed at herself for her lack of situational awareness, she glanced up and realized as she saw a heavy-set, snowy-haired businessman in a pinstripe suit. The man opened the briefcase, withdrew a book of his own, and began quietly reading. Ah, nice. Satisfied there was nothing to be concerned about, Blake relaxed, returning her attention back to her novel. It was building to a climax. The Herrick Lord was about to publicly confess to crimes he didn't commit, and accept exile in order to ensure his daughter's safety. And the cool young usurper of the throne was enjoying his enemy's humiliation a little too much. What is this, One Piece? After a few minutes, Blake was once again stirred from her repose as she realized the businessman kept sneaking glances at her from the corner of his eye. Yeah, it's not an accident that he sat there. She allowed a slight frown to cross her face for a second, before adopting a neutral expression and turning to look him in the eye. Can I help you with something, sir? She asked politely, but without any warmth. The man gave her a much more cheerful smile in return, looking completely unabashed. Oh no, sorry to bother you. I couldn't have noticed your choice of reading material. He turned his own book to show Blake the cover, revealing the title she recognized as being a later book in the same series. You have excellent taste. Is this your first time reading that one? Cornelius Fudge. It can be, yes. From now on, we are gonna imagine Cornelius Fudge as the businessman right there. The Minister of Magic. Oh wait. If we go back to the title that technology is almost magic, yeah, I can see why. Oh yes, a friend recommended it the other day. I just can't put it down. Oh good, I won't keep you for enjoying it done. The man turned back to his own text, a wide smile on his face. Nonplussed, Blake turned back to a book, Shade giving the man a suspicious glance before reading over his trainer's shoulder again. A few minutes passed in silence. And then Blake gasped aloud, eyes wide. What? What the? Shade was just as baffled, mouth hanging open, pressing in closer to make sure he hadn't misread the page. Blake's benchmate burst out laughing, That's what I was waiting for. The gentleman turned and beamed at the teenager. I saw how far into the book you were and how intently you were reading, and I knew you were coming up on that. Blake stared at him, still aghast. But did the main hero of the horse book just actually die? How could... do you know nothing, Blake? Ah, her companion sighed. The moment then you see a newcomer to the series, reach that emotional gut punch, and realize that no one is safe from the author is glorious. I think I know what they are reading. I am pretty sure I know what they are reading. It's a Dance of Fire and Flame. Not Dance of Fire and Flame, that's a game. It's this thing, isn't it? It's this thing, isn't it? Because no one is safe from the writer. He gave her a wink. My son introduced me to these books, and he did the same thing to me, you know? Now I understand why he looks so smug. Link finally managed to smile back at him. It's a bold move on the author's part. In the other books, does the other character step up because the main protagonist, or does it stay more of an even spread of perspectives? Well, I can't say too much without spoiling things, but... The two chatted about their books, as well as discussing other titles, for nearly half an hour. It was a rare treat for the reticent girl, as she didn't get to go in depth with a fellow bibliophile as often as she would like. RWBY's preference for fairy tales didn't lend itself to integrate character motivations and subtle foreshadowing, and Vice tended to stick to non-fiction. Yang didn't dislike reading, but it wasn't her preferred way to relax. All good things came to an end, though. Eventually, Blake's new acquaintance glanced at his watch and sighed. Sorry to cut this short, but my break is almost over. He pulled out a business card from his breast pocket and scribbled something on the back. Like I said, if you need some cheering up before starting the next one, try these. They are always good for putting a smile on your face. Link accepted the card and glanced down the list of books before pointing at one. I really hope they are gonna name some of the books, because that would be nice to get some recommendations. This is the one you mentioned with the condemned colonist is getting offered a government job, isn't it? The same, my personal favorite. The man gathered up his briefcase and tipped his hat to her. Thank you so much for a stimulating conversation, miss. It's always good to see that the younger generation is still passionate about good books. And thank you for the recommendations, Blake answered with a warm smile. I think I finished the rest of this book. Probably could use something cheerful before I read the next one. After the kindly man left, Blake relaxed against her seat and glanced up at Shade. What do you think? Will we have time to finish the last bit of this before the others come back? Shade shook his head, amused grinning in place. We don't? Inspector Pokemon flicked his eyes across the plaza, and Blake saw teammates already approaching, but something seemed amiss. Rice was visibly angry, hunched over and numb stiff as she tried to keep herself under control. Whisper was slung over the hair's shoulder, her tiny hands pressed to her mouth, as she tried not to laugh. Oh god, what happened? RWBY was red-faced with embarrassment, grinning sheepishly and trying to look small. nose orbiting above her head instead of taking his usual perch for some reason. Yang looks like she was smiling cheerfully without a care in the world, but Blake knew her too well to be fooled. The way her smile didn't quite reach her eyes, the way she was swearing just a little too much. She was pretending not to be mortified by something. And where her looks had vanished to? And why were all of them soaking wet? Do we want to know? Blake asked as they approached. Ghastly! She answered cheerfully. I do. Don't ask. Rice seated by the way of greeting, trying to bring out her ponytail. I still say the fire sprinklers were too sensitive, Yang said flippantly, taking Lux's Pokemon off her bed and sending him back out now that they were outside. You were right in a smoke detector, Rice snapped, eyes flashing. What did you think would happen? I can see what happened. I can see what happened, kinda. I was thinking that old hack shouldn't have yelled at RWBY. The lady was really mean, RWBY mumbled, still looking embarrassed. How was I supposed to know that roses make her sneeze? Here's a better question. Rice nodded, rounding on the partner. Why did you use her semblance in a crowded department store in the first place? You said to hurry up! Rat had protested. It didn't mean you should. Rice threw her hands in the air. Literally. As Whisper finally bursted out laughing, wiping waterlogged green hair away from her eyes. She gave Lux an amused look, noting how the compass can was completely dry, despite how damn the others were. And I suppose you just happened to be in your paw when all that went down. Yup. Lux said, examining his claws nonchalantly. I lucked out is all. Sure you did, Lux said, his voice raged with amusement. He turned to Shade and lowered his voice into conspirational stage whisper. I was honestly impressed. In the second or so between the sprinklers activating and the first drops of hitting the floor, he crossed the room and triggered his Pokemon with a perfect dive. Oh, that sucks. That's fine. And I thought I was fast since I evolved. Ignoring Shade's laughter, Lux turned to give a tie on the bed. Has anyone ever pointed out to you that you are now the same size and shape as a soccer ball? Nope! The sheriff turned denied cheerfully. Has anyone pointed out that you are in fact a massive chicken? He's not wrong. Lei shook her head, quietly chuckling as she watched her friends, human and Pokemon alike, swabbling good-naturedly. As much as she enjoyed the chance to catch some solitude, she wouldn't trade this for the world. Actually, I would be laughing if Blake would understand Pokemon. It would make things a little bit different, right? As I mentioned in the beginning, it would be like, what if someone tries to catch Blake? In a Pokeball. Would it work? She is not human per se. And she has aura unlike the Grim. So it might work, who knows? And she is not registered to any Pokeball yet. But since she doesn't understand the Pokemon, it will not work. Thankfully, by the time of Team RWBY's meeting, they managed to dry off sufficiently. They stood before an artistically designed double skyscraper, both halves rounded and gently curving, in a sharp contrast to the rather more standard box shapes of the buildings that surrounded it. Obviously, the picture is not working anymore. Oh wow, RWBY said, craning her neck to stare up at the towers. But which one do we go to? Both have rounded and gently curving. The taller one, da! Yang said, pointing at the right-hand building. We are meeting the big boss of the place, right? So it's gotta be gotta have a big top floor office. Or we could just ask the receptionist. Wise said, gesturing to the shorter structure, connecting the skyscraper at the base. We do have an appointment after all. Well, if you want to be boring, Blake said, amused smile in the place. The four entered the massive and tastefully decorated foyer. Various business people in suits and occasional lab coat walking back and forth with various skill boards and files the other arcane tools of financial wizardry. The presence of Pokemon accompanying a few of them was the only difference between his corporate headquarters and a number of the others back in Remnant. It's even possible to catch something besides Pokemon with the Pokeballs. It depends on how Pokeballs work in this world. As we know now, officially, the Pokeball works as the Pokemon Aura. That is the official statement in Arceus, that Pokemon can change their sizes, and the Pokeball are actually just activating that possibility on them. It's just activating their ability to shrink. So, because Blake is not able to shrink and change sizes, she wouldn't be able to be caught. Unless it's a very big Pokeball. And probably nothing else can be caught. And nothing else without Aura. Why's having spent so much in her life in such places? Wait, yeah. Simply strode straight up to the main desk without pause. The others trying to catch up after they stopped to take it all in. Welcome to Devon Corporation. The pack young woman greeted. Customer service smiling place. How may I help you today? My companions and I have an appointment with Mr. Stone. Wise said politely, but with authority. You should be expecting us. I see. Just a moment, please. The receptionist tapped at her computer. Okay, so you would be Ruby Rose then? Wise blinked, then closed her eyes with a sigh. The familiarity of her surroundings had made her momentarily forget that she wasn't universally recognizable as the business people on this side of the outer wormholes. Oh no, that's me, Ruby said, arriving at her partner's shoulder. I am Ruby Rose. The receptionist flushed slightly, taking Ruby's outfit and hair. Oh, I probably should have guessed that. My apologies. I guess that it would make you... She peered at her monitor for a few seconds before hazarding another guess. Why, Snee? How did you guess that? The white girl in a white dress is Snow White. Yes. Rice confirmed her guess, and Yang and Blake had identified themselves as well. About a minute later, the group had been directed to a bank of elevators, leading up the shorter left side of the tower, to their surprise, and were on their way to the top floor. Yang was glad she at least got that part right. Remember, Rice began in her bossy-ass tones, let me do the talking, I spend my life sitting in the meetings in corporate presidents, directors and CEOs and have been trained to deal with them. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about you are about to deal with some very strange CEO? She shuttled guys across her teammates, trying to impress her seriousness on them. We don't want to agree to anything until we have it in writing, and I've read it through. We submit it before your wisdom, almighty queen of corporations. Blake drawled, rolling her eyes. She was spat from whatever vice would have snapped back by the elevator door sliding open, revealing the small reception room. Another pleasant young woman sat on the desk. Not on the desk, at the desk. And immediately smiled at the electric group that piled out of the lift. Hello, you're Team RWBY, right? Mr. Stone is ready to see you now. Weiss was pleasantly surprised that the group wasn't expected to sit and stew for a while, being well familiar with such power play tactics in corporate life. Thanking the personal assistant, she knew better than to call them secretaries politely. She led their teammates through the door, into a large and comfortably appointed office. Large windows left the room brightly lit, and provided a great view across the Rasborough skyline. In addition to the massive wooden desk directly across from the door, there was a coffee table, and a pair of leather couches off to the one side, and a collection of file display cases to the other. Within the first few seconds, the Harris expertise assessed the furnishings as being very high quality, but without the ostentation that most never reach. Her father included, mistook for good taste. That was a positive sign. Mr. Stone, we definitely have Bobapedia. There you go. He's a kind man. The man they had come to see was already rising from his desk as the door opened, walking through it to greet his guest. Not making us come to him, That was another point in the man's favor. His hair was white with age, to the point that Weiss was already anticipating a bad joke from Young about him being a long-lost relative, but he moved with a youthful energy, and his smile looked genuine. Hello, welcome to the Darwin Corporation, and thank you for all coming so... The man cut himself off suddenly, staring wide-eyed and mouth agape, with his hand halfway expanded. Weiss had a faint gasp from behind her, and tried to stay bleak and shade similarly unfolded. The dark-haired girl immediately produced a piece of paper from her pocket. Standing in front of her, Weiss could see the other side, a standard-looking business card, the logo of Darwin Oh! The same guy! A standard-looking business card, the logo of Darwin Corp, and the same name, Joseph Stone, present and prominent. Blake flipped it over, and Weiss could now see the handwritten list of book titles. Why didn't I think to... Blake groaned. Though she sounded like she was also on the verge of laughter. Mr. Stone, on the other hand, did laugh. Well, I wasn't expected to see you again so soon. No, I'm certainly not complaining. Did you get a chance to finish your book? RWBY looked back and forth between the businessman and the phoners. Do you two know each other? One brief explanation later, Team RWBY and their Pokemon had taken seats to the couches, with Mr. Stone choosing to stand, working out his abundance of energy by pacing as he talked. The thing you need to understand about Darwin Corporation is that we pride ourselves on being one of the first premier think tanks, bringing together experts of dozens of fields and giving them resources they need to excel. Our clients are interested in large-scale mass production. That's the limit of the fine folks at Safeco. No, we make purpose-built equipment to solve singular issues. The businessman smiled widely at the girls, looking for all the world like a proud father describing his child's collection of trophies. We have fulfilled contracts with most deep space center, making parts for space shuttles, starship yards to make prototype deep-sea research submarine, and everything in between. Stone leaned forward a little, and his broad grin became a bit self-deprecative. But of course that's not what I asked you here for. For an old man and his rambling, I can't help to be proud of accomplishments here. He strolled over towards the display cases, waving for the group to join him. It's what we have been getting up to lately that concerns you. You see, the old wormholes are expanding our understanding of the universe by their very existence, if only though making it clear how very little we know. Entire new branches of science are being founded, and just as crucially, we are learning new things about subjects we thought we already understood. Nantas reached the rows of glass cases and found them to be full of neatly labeled and lovingly organized stone and crystal samples. The one of the president was standing next to had 10 faintly glowing gems, all in different colors. Like these, for example, Stone said, smiling softly. We thought we knew the extent of what these little beauties could do. We were so very wrong. Pretty, Yang commented, turning to face RWBY's partner. Hey Weiss, these are the super nice crystals you were talking about with the oak, right? Like the one you used to get Geist? RWBY was to the side and a bit behind Weiss, so could clearly see that her right hand twitched at the memory. Yes, the rest said. I thought I'm not eager to try that again. If my own hadn't taken the worst of it and accelerated my healing, my hand would have been useless for weeks from the backlash alone. Exactly my point, Stone said. Channeling the power of the Thunderstone into an attack directly, it's never been done before, and Professor Oak's report indicates that the more widespread yet less stable forms of found in none. Thus, he called it, are used as power sources like fuel, yet more uses we never conceived of. Yeah, because one elemental evolution stone could basically power up a whole city with power for years. If they learn how to harvest its energy. They scanned other cases, noting that the contents looked far more mundane. What are the rest of these? She asked. Stone smiled at her. Rather less dramatic, I'm afraid. He swept his arm across the collection. I've always had an interest in the world beneath our feet, ever since I found the fragment of fossilized Pokemon as a boy. Lots of that fossil is in that case over there, along with several others I have acquired over the years. He pointed at the case in question, then shifted it to another. Samples of interesting minerals in that one, pumice from Rona's own Mount Chimney, granite from the slopes of Mount Silver, vials of sand from deserts and beaches all over the world. He rolled his eyes in an exaggerated manner. Imagine a name named Stone having an interest in geology. Who would have guessed? But why the four of you, especially Miss Nee, are without a doubt the foremost experts on dust, this side of the outer wormholes. That's still not why I asked you here. I apologize for taking so long to get to the point. Well, I think it would be best to show you. Let's find some music because that stopped. We don't want any better teams. Sure, why not? Stone hurried for the office door. Opening it, he spoke quietly to his assistant for a moment, then took a hard right instead of going to the elevators. This way. He called cheerfully, placing his hand on a palm scanner and setting to the wall. We will take a shortcut. Yeah, this is much harder than Acertronic, if we consider that Rex. Because I have to find my own music. It's not playing in the background without me doing anything. I was still towards the top end, revealing a small chamber no bigger than 10 feet on the side. It was completely empty, and on the far wall was a single large red button. Stone was thrown in, and his guest filed in behind him. Executive elevator? Vice guest, and the executive chuckled. That would be far too boring. He tapped the button. There was a rising hum for a few seconds, and then a lurch, and finally felt the electric ping. That felt kind of familiar, Whisper said thoughtfully. For a very good reason, little lady, Stone said, opening the door to reveal a completely different room on the other side. Welcome to the One Course famed think tank! Team RWBY stepped out of the elevator and buckled at the side before them. They were on a balcony that circled a 2-story high room, looking down on a sea of computers, workstations, whiteboards, and lab-coated employees rushing to and fro. Showing each other printouts and computer screens and apparently competing to be the loudest scientists in all the land. RWBY turned and looked back at the innocuous chamber that they had stepped out of. Can you also do baby live video? No, I cannot do live because it's immediately blocked. Sadly, I cannot do it live. Every time I upload a baby video, I have to wait like 30 minutes after uploading and work out a little bit of compromise between the owners of Beyblade. It's just YouTube stuff, you know that. But if I could, I would. And then at the nearest window, from where they were, she could see the roof of the other Devon Corp tower, meaning they were now in the taller one. Mr. Stone, did we just teleport? Yes, we did, Stone announced happily. Doesn't even need to be its own room. The components are all built into the floor. It's nowhere near as versatile as a Pokemon who knows the relevant move, but it's still a fantastic development that helps in our work tremendously. He just stepped back inside. This way, we don't need to stick a Pokemon with the mind-numbing task of constantly teleporting back and forth to the same few rooms over and over again, or waiting around bore stiff until someone needs them. He turned and swept his arm over the research floor below. And just a elaborate excuse to let me avoid exercise either. The side rooms down there have their own paths that lead to storage and fabrication facilities, allowing those hardworking researchers to swap out components and equipment with these. RWBY noticed the gleam in Vice's eye that she recognized as the Harris's mind going into overdrive. Teleportation pads, what kind of maintenance do they require, and how are you powering them? Is there a mass limit? A range limit? I have a question about evolution stones. Did someone ever try to make artificial evolution stones? Yes. I'm pretty sure they did. I mean, these things are kind of rare, right? Someone has to be tried that at some point. I'm pretty sure they did. I don't see any mention of it in official sites. I don't know if it happened in any of the stories, because I didn't play all of the games. As I said, I didn't play the new ones. I don't know if they mentioned anything. But I mean, they did create Mewtwo. So why would they not think about making evolution stones, right? I'm pretty sure Team Rocket would definitely work onto this. Because our Pokemon are better, right? Stone Grind. Less than you would expect. Though still quite a bit. Just the normal city power grid. The only mass limit is how strong the pad is built. And sort of. See how they have to build in pairs that can only port to each other, and there has to be a direct connection, so they can only realistically be constructed in the same building. So we are working on that. So start along the balcony and start down at the stairs to the research floor. The girls are to see us. You see, I believe the best way to get results is to hire the very best and let them do their jobs with the minimal interference. They are the experts of the role, that's why I hired them. That being said, there does need to be some oversight. Yeah, this is how every CEO should work. That hire the very best and let them do their jobs. Sadly, where I work, it's hire the worst, the cheapest, and interfere whenever you can. That's how they do it. So the exact opposite. And it's causing me trouble as well. The president reached the floor and saw that in the contrast chaos. After all, he said with a raised voice that got the attention of the scientists around him. If you put this many orphanages into a room together without any sort of guidance, you will either end up with a doomsday device or a game of Troticons and Dragonites. It's D&D. There was a general laughter at that, and one small mouse called back in a mock protest. We don't have any dice, sir! You can't make one? All the more reason for me to be peering over your shoulders, Simmons. There was more laughter, and the assembled scientists drifted back to their work. So returned his attention to his impromptu tour group. While we are here, there are a few products I would like to show you. This way. In here, this is my personal favorite projects. The proud president said. He gestured to a massive collection of arcane machinery, control panels, and display screens. This device can take fossil and extract genetic data from it. Yes, later I can do that. Don't worry about that. And clone a copy in the ancient Pokemon. Probably at night I will do that. Because obviously I need to render it after recording. He turned to the girls and smiled in delight at their dumbfounded expressions. You heard right! We can clone the extinct Pokemon. That fossil I mentioned before, the one I found as a child, the children that resulted from it is now one of my closest friends. Ruby's eyes gleamed as she beheld the marvel of the modern science. Eee, that's so cool! How do you make them from just data? How do you know what to feed them? Are they really dinosaurs? I slapped a hand over her excitable partner's mouth. Breathe, Ruby. Blake stared up at the machine. Every time I think I have handle of what the technology around here is capable of, she shook her head ruefully. In the next room, Stone showed the team a complex series of weather maps, whiteboards covered in mathematical formulae, and topological charts. A pair of scientists were arguing over a list of Pokemon moves, debating what orders they should be listed in, specifically if rain dance should go before or after grassy terrain. Here, we have a work in progress, Stone explained. We believe that in careful preparation and constant monitoring, we can use repeated applications. Welcome to Jurassic Park. I mean, it could turn out that way. But he's not doing that. He's not making a park out of it. He's not making an amusement park out of it. That was the big problem right there in Jurassic Park, that they made all of them and made them able to mate with each other, to reproduce, to self-reproduce. I mean, they didn't want to make them reproduce, but they actually mixed the dino DNA with other stuff like frogs. Here is actually just the exact copy of the DNA, and it's Pokemon. I mean, this could reproduce as well. But we can use repeated applications of weather alternating moves to reduce a terraforming effect on inhospitable terrain. The long-term goal is to support a possible moon colony by jump-starting an ecosystem, probably in some kind of dome. But it could also be used to reclaim deserts and return to green to deforested areas. They stared at him. The moon? Man, you guys are really reaching for the stars, huh? Literally. Why should on the other hand focused on a different part of the explanation? There are Pokemon moves that can change the weather? Oh yes! Stone chuckled, entering her shock. There is sunny day, rain dance, hail, and sandstorm. A single use move by a single Pokemon only covers a small area and doesn't last very long, but groups of working in tandem can coordinate and amplify the effect. With careful practice and maintenance, we believe lasting changes can be gradually made. Ruby smiled wise. Honestly, is that really surprising at this point? I mean, with everything else we have seen? Wise stared at her blankly for a moment. Yes, weather manipulation is orders of magnitude more impressive than anything we have seen since arriving here. Wise, in the last room they had a dinosaur making machine! You need to get your priorities straight! They continued bickering as they moved on to the next lab. Blood Plague paused for a moment before hurrying to keep up. Clearing deserts? Yeah, I thought about Plague as well. Because Menagerie is like 90% desert and 1% and 10% of the little city of the Thailand. Where she lives. Now, this one I expect you to be very interested in. Stone said with a chuckle. We are working with another lab on a collaborative project that's only in the early stages so far. And they are coming in. They are providing the raw data, and we are providing the raw engineering experience. Care to guess what it is? It's the portal, right? It was not an easy question to answer. Whatever the device was, it is more of a series of blueprints covered with annotations at this point, with very little in the way of actual structure. The girl studied the crude framework. But all of them were really able to make much more sense of it, with all the internals exposed and bundles of wires sticking out at random. After a moment, Weiss looked at the room, seeking for alternative perspective. It's gonna be a Stargate, isn't it? And her eyes fell on the whiteboard covered with chicken scratch writing pointing at different parts of a crude stick figure drawing of the completed device. The sketch was too rudimentary on its own to make much sense, but when she saw what was in the center of the sketch, she couldn't help but gasp. In the middle of a ring-like structure. Yeah, it's a Stargate. There was an odd circular grid that stretched away in the middle. It looked like a child rendition of... That's right. Stone said softly, giving Weiss a warm smile. This device is intended to be an ultra-wormhole generator. His smile grew broader as he looked at the girls, all of whom were staring at him with wide eyes. Once we have it working, you will have a way home. Home. Actually, Malaysia is 2/3 desert, 1/3 jungles, and a little bit of little city. Still, a lot of land is claimed by desert, filled with game. So it would still be a great technology to have there. Home. Such a simple word that had so much extra meaning to the four girls. None of them had given much thought to the idea of returning to Remnant over the past few days. They had been too busy dealing with the wonders of the new world and the familiar horrors of the Grimm. But to have that distant, overreaching problem solved, to have the answer right here, right there, freely offered. All of their ignored concerns and worries suddenly came into focus, and in the same instant, were laid to rest. Don't worry, that will take like weeks or months to finish, to prototype first. Will we reach the portal in time? If we do, we will never see our friends there again, here again. What about our Pokemon? RWBY found her voice first, and even if it was quavering a little, Mr. Stone, this is how can we? Giving into impulse, she gave them a hug. Surprising Weiss once again. The businessman steadily smiled down at the teary-eyed redhead, giving her a gentle hug in return. Thank us when it works, Miss Rose. Now that we really are needed. He released her and tugged back into the incomplete device. And to be honest, we were already drawing up plans for this before we learned about the four of you. The opportunity to explore the other side of the wormholes was too intriguing to resist. Well, if Salem gets a hold of this idea that they are making this, they are gonna rush this city with an army of Grimm, right? And with the plans to destroy all chance of finishing this project. And now that we know there are people there as well, that's all the same reason to establish reliable connection. Imagine all that we could learn from each other. Stone's smile grew a bit apologetic. Of course, that's in the future. Right now, all this pile of parts is good for giving my engineers shows and my physicists headaches. And I thought I really wanted to show it to you. It's still not what I asked you here for. One more lab if you follow me. Now, this one is one of the few projects we have ever had that it's been less than certain about. Stone said in low tones after they entered the next room. That, of course, is the reason I insisted on contacting you girls for a consultation. This project had the potential to be a huge help, but personally, I feel that it has also potential to be the real mess if it's not handled carefully. What is the project, sir? Weiss asked, scanning the room. There was a single scientist poring over a map and a series of spreadsheets at the table of the middle of the room, and there were blueprints and what appeared to be shipping manifests scattered nearly at random. In one corner there was a large empty cell-like structure with reinforced glass walls, and on the big computer monitor behind the researcher there were pages of digital textbook covered in pictures of Grimm. Oh, hopefully they are not going to recreate Grimm, are they? Weiss began to get a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach. I will let the man of the spot explain, Stone said before raising his voice. Pilot? How's the project going? Huh? The man jumped, startled. Oh, Mr. Stone! Well, things are going very well, even better than most of his projections, I'm proud to say. That's good, Stone said, though he frowned slightly. Though I suppose it means you would better evaluate your scenarios, but later. I wanted to meet these 4 young ladies. They are experts I wanted to consult with. Oh, very well, if you insist, sir, but I really fear we don't need assistance. My plan has worked flawlessly, as I said, and we have already captured plenty of Grimm without their help. I'm confident we have everything in hand. Did you say captured? Did you say captured? We are definitely liking this. We are gonna do the intermission as well. Is this going to the next one? No, it's not. It might not go to that. Because there is an intermission between that. It's a little short. It's 720 words. We're gonna do that, the interlude. Oh, it's that. Okay, it goes to the next one. That's gonna be useful next time. There's something that keeps bugging me to write out, so I think I'm going to do just that. I'll let Darwin decide whether or not it's canon. Oh, it's actually written by someone else. It's written by Leo Archon, and Darwin is the owner of the story. I see. General James Ironwood prided himself on being unflappable. He was someone who could remain calm and collected, no matter the circumstance. He was a person who always knew what to say. It was rare for him to be struck speechless, yet one of his most gifted students and personal projects had done just that. Could you please repeat that, please? He asked. Penny Palantir obliged. The rat had Stone surprisingly subdued. I was curious if you knew the whereabouts of Team RWBY. I haven't seen them in approximately 15 and 3/4 days, and I'm starting to feel concerned, sir. She had said the exact same thing moments ago, in the exact same tone and voice. Ironwood sighed, rubbing his left hand over the bridge of his nose. He was, of course, well aware of the current whereabouts, or rather lack thereof, of Team RWBY. Ostin having called him to provide technicians to analyze the area the porter had been in. There was one problem with him knowing this, however. Penny, Team RWBY is based here at Bacon, not from Atlas. Why are you concerned about them? This was the prompt, as always. Shortly after I arrived in Ware, I acted to explore the city, to familiarize myself with the layout. During my explorations, I bumped into Team RWBY, and RWBY Rose extended an offer of friendship to me. Shortly afterwards, there was an incident with the White Fang at the docks, after which you asked me not to speak of them again. But here's the lifelike gently exposed before continuing. I can't stop being RWBY's friend just because you told me not to talk to her. If she's in trouble, I would like to help however I can. Ironwood regarded her for a long moment. Penny was the joint creation of Professor Polendina and himself. Well, some of his most trusted technicians, but semantics, and was first successful attempt at creating synthetic being capable of generating an aura. Her artificial intelligence was years ahead of the standard AK-200 models, and had a unique ability to learn and grow, much like a person. In almost every respect, save for her origin, Penny could be considered a normal human girl. RWBY was of course aware of her meeting with Team RWBY as well, the dark side incident. And the not insignificant part of him was glad that, like a human girl, Penny had found a friend. Moreover, a friend that, given what he knew of the Ruby Rose, Penny could rely on if the journey ever found herself in over her head. God forbid that ever happened. The other part of RWBY was quick to remind him that Penny was meant to save the world. She was supposed to be the weapon used to get Salem's lot whenever they made their move. It had been a project, having Penny maintain the masquerade of a normal athletic student, while simultaneously keeping her abilities on the down low. The last thing he wanted for anyone in Salem's crew learning about Penny's capabilities, or worse, her origins. The first weekend in Vale had been risky enough, with her being instrumental in thwarting another one of Roman Torchwick's heists. RWBY considered his response before replying. I'm afraid I can't answer your question directly, Penny. When Janet frowned, he explained. They were sent on a mission, given to them by Professor Ospin himself. He alone was the authority to disseminate their current mission status and whereabouts. Penny brightened. Then perhaps you would be willing to arrange the meeting? I've been interested in meeting Professor Ospin anyway, and this would be a good opportunity. RWBY blinked at that, wondering why Penny was interested in meeting with Beacon Cellmaster, but elected not to question her somewhat eccentric personality. He considered the request for a moment before relenting. Oh, very well. I will call and see if he is available for a meeting. He may wish to delay, however, once he learns what you are asking. Penny blinked and tilted her head slightly. Why? Because there are others he may wish to be present, he said, as he began to call Ospin. And that is the end of the interlude as well. We are not gonna continue right now, because we have been live for 1.5 hours, and I need my voice for later. But yeah, it was some nice, calming chapters. Let's just say it like that. It's the calm after and before the storm. Because opening a wormhole, having a stable portal, is a good thing, but a bad thing as well, as if you think about it. Because it's a target. It's a very big target. We know the Grimm are actually lured to that to the portals, and Salem can actually see where they open, or at least easily survey where they opening. I mean, the Grimm always present there much faster than the actual hunters and huntresses. So yeah, this is what Salem was afraid of. That the people in Earth are trying to get the hold of the people in Remnant. This can go either way. Either Remnant are gonna be saved from the Grimm, or at least have very big helps in defeating Grimm and taking over all the territories again. Because Grimm can replicate themselves. They can they just got out of the pools of hatred. But there is a limit of how fast they can reproduce, right? I mean, yeah, humans are humans have their own limits of how fast they can reproduce as well. But yeah, I can see the problems of Pokemon getting into Remnant. On Salem's side. But on the other side as well, more and more Grimm can come to this side of the area as well. So yeah, this can go two ways. Either Earth is gonna be attacked by Grimm, it already is, or taken over, or Remnant can be taken back by the humans. That's the two possibilities that can happen. But we are gonna stop right here and not continue reading tomorrow, because tomorrow I will be working in the morning. Let's see, when is the next possible scenario? Let me pull up my phone. I have my work schedule there. Give me a second. Work schedule. On Friday. Yes, on Friday we can continue. If that's okay with you. And don't worry, between those I will still have upload baby videos, and we'll still work on the other movie that I'm working on, which is the Rainbow Road Trip. It's still under editing. I just don't have time to do that. And I still have to record the first episode of the last season. Oh, there's a lot to do, isn't it? There is a lot to do. But yeah, on Friday we are going to continue reading, and in between that there are gonna be videos uploaded as well. But yeah, thank you for being here, and see you next time. Or maybe on Twitch with Rex, who knows.